for them to get it wrong with. Leg 2 of the 2009 Monte Carlo rally is based around Valence, 145 kilometres of competitive stages. And the question, what kind of tyres to use? For Gian Domenico Basso, it's not only a question of tyres. The Italian's only got limited experience in these conditions, and he's really struggling to find any kind of feeling with his car. In the first stage of the day, he loses 1 minute and 5 seconds to the leader, and that's the story of his rally so far. Stefan Sarrazin again, and this is the story of his rally, opts for a very aggressive tyre choice, heavily grooved wets. This will be an advantage where grip is good, but when the roads become slippery, the risk is that this kind of thing will happen. Don't forget, snow, ice, and grooved wet weather racers. He explains later, I got into an icy downhill section, I braked a bit too late, I locked the wheels and that stalled the engine. I didn't have time to get it switched back on, I just slid off into the ditch. Luckily, because of the spectators, we were able to get back on the road, but we lost about 4 minutes. But afterwards, we pushed as hard as yesterday, and we're still setting some good times. Nico Voyoz also loses time in stage 4 with a puncture. He drops 3 positions in the overall standings from 3rd to 6th. And things aren't looking too good for the defending champion. Well, these snowy conditions are meat and drink to Juho Hänninen, and the Finn's really taking advantage. He flies, winning the first 2 special stages of the day. When he arrives in Saint-Bonnet-le-Foy, he leads the Monte by 1 minute and 27 seconds from fellow first-timer Chris Meek. Meek's a real star, rising in the British rallying firmament. This year he'll be competing in the whole championship in the Peugeot UK 207 run by Kronos. But an off-road excursion on stage 6 costs him, and he loses contact with Hänninen, dropping from 2nd to 4th. Well, that's bad news for me. It's good news, though, for Sébastien Ogier. He moves up into 2nd spot in his Peugeot. The Junior World Rally Champion is certainly taking full advantage of this one-off opportunity handed to him by BF Goodrich. Nico Voyoz still hoping for a decent result, but lying towards the bottom of the top 10, he has to go at maximum attack, and that brings with it its own risks. He puts himself out of the opening event. Yeah, very disappointed. It started well, but already this morning we were losing time, which was not good, and so this afternoon we had to push to try and recover. But in the end, it didn't work out. Leg 2, a good one though for Tony Gardemeister, 5th overall in a privately run Astra Racing Abarth Grandi Punto, proving that the Italian car can be fast with the right tyre choice and if the driver's got the right feeling. Good day too for a young Austrian whose father was a famous rally driver 20 years before. Former European champion Franz Wittmann's son is in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 9 run by one of his dad's old rivals, Siggy Stoll's Stoll Racing operation, and he lies 10th overall. But the big news of the day concerns flying Finn Juho Hänninen, flying just a bit too much. In the last special stage of the day, he picks up a puncture and loses a lot of time. He drops from the lead of the rally down to 3rd in the overnight rankings. Ogier is the new leader with Freddie Loix in 2nd.
Last stage, then big disappointment with the puncture, but I don't know what to say. Otherwise, it was a good day and difficult stage, and I had a good time. So, and puncture, this is something what happens in a rally. So, I'm not so disappointed.
Italian Manuel Via, driven by Angelo Canova, is leading the 2-wheel drive category after retirement of long-time leader Christophe Fontaine. And British driver Nicky West is 3rd in class in his Polo, a privately entered car, the smallest in the capacity. Sébastien Ogier then sits atop the overnight leaderboard with a 32-second gap over Loix, 54 ahead of Hänninen. Will that be enough to face the final day, including the tough night on the Col de Torini? And as the legendary Torini approaches once again, tyre choice will play a crucial role. The final stages through the Turini will be very spectacular. There's a lot of altitude changes on the two stages. As a consequence, we'll have sections that have got low temperatures and almost certainly ice on the roads. After Turini, there's a long downhill section. Probably that'll be dry. It's got a lot of hard braking areas in the hairpins. When you've got studs, it's very difficult to deal with. We'll have to be really focused to make the right choices for the drivers. And so into the final day of a classic snowy Monte. First stage of the day in daylight, the remainder in darkness. Mark van Dalen Kronos says we've got a car supported by BF Goodrich and that car's leading the rally, which is great news. It's a symbol for us because the tyres have played such an important part on the event already. With our four cars, we've always tried to make different choices. We don't want to bet everything on the same number. I think it's been a good strategy. It's allowed us to have one of our cars at the front on almost every stage.
Monte Carlo rally with a lot of snow, ice and different weather conditions, and it's not over yet, so it will be even more difficult.
And the rally leader concurs with that opinion. He says tyres are a key element on the Monte. So far we've been very well advised by the BF Goodrich team. Never made the wrong tyre choice. So let's hope that continues. Gian Domenico Basso reckons that in this rally, experience plays a more important role than in any other, perhaps, because the weather change is non-stop. And we've really suffered from a lack of experience, and as a consequence, we always seem to be changing our tyre choices. Plenty of action in the service park, and just occasionally you bump into the strangest people. This is WRC star Chris Atkinson.
Next is Rally Island, first round of the World Rally Championship. We're going to do that in a Citroen. Obviously, it'd be interesting to do some events in the IRC as well. We're having a look around and it all looks really interesting, and there's some nice events on the calendar. So it sounds like it could be fun, and it looks like it's been a good weekend here as well. Plenty of action, and there's some good drivers, some good cars, and plenty of excitement. So it'd be good to be a part of it.
Well, with no Subarus to drive this year, who knows? Atkinson might yet appear in the IRC.